Well, good morning. It's Thursday morning. Today we're on Psalm 68. We're going to read verses 1 through 13. The whole thing is about 40 verses long, and it's just too much to read in our short time together. God shall arise. His enemies shall be scattered, and those who hate him shall flee before him. As smoke is driven away, so you shall drive them away. As wax melts before fire, so the wicked shall perish before God. But the righteous shall be glad. They shall exult before God. They shall be jubilant with joy. Sing to God. Sing praises to his name. Lift up a song to him who rides through the deserts. His name is the Lord. Exult before him. Father of the fatherless and protector of widows is God in his holy habitation. God settles the solitary in a home. He leads out the prisoners to prosperity, but the rebellious dwell in a parched land. O God, when you went out before your people, when you marched through the wilderness, the earth quaked, the heavens poured down rain before God, the one of Sinai, before God, the God of Israel. Rain in abundance, O God, you shed abroad. You restored your inheritance as it languished. Your flock found a dwelling in it. In your goodness, O God, you provided for the needy. The Lord gives the word. The women who announce the news are a great host. The kings of the armies, they flee, they flee. The women at home divide the spoil. Though you men lie among the sheepfolds, the wings of a dove covered with silver, its pinions shimmering with gold. So, another sort of typical psalm. God will destroy our enemies and God will not destroy the righteous. That's us. And all will be well. I'm struck by some of the images in here, though. The wicked and the arrogant are driven away the way smoke is puffed away by the wind, or the way wax just melts away in a fire. But the righteous will be glad and exult and sing praises to God as he rides through the desert. Verse 5 says he's father of the fatherless and protector of widows. Some years back, maybe 40 years or so, the Association of Catholic Bishops in the United States, whatever it's called, announced that they had determined that God exercises a preferential option for the poor and takes care of the fatherless and the widows. Well, guess what? The orphans and the widows, all through the Bible, are mentioned as the ones who need care and protection. James says in the New Testament that that's real faith takes care of the orphans and the widows. And so, we see this concern for them. They don't have a man in their family unit to take care of them. So, the warrior image, the warrior's been killed, they're widowed, their children are orphans, and what are they going to do? No one's going to care for them. They're just going to be sold into slavery. And it says here, no, God will take care of them. So God does have compassion on them, and a preferential option for them would not be too far out of bounds. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to say. I'm glad they said it. And God will settle those people in a home, but all these wicked enemies he's going to drive away in a parched land, a place with no water. What could be worse? Well, then it talks about the earthquakes when God comes and the rains fall and fall in abundance. Well, we've certainly seen that in the last few days, haven't we, over here on the East Coast? A lot of rain. Well, rain in abundance God sheds abroad, it says. God restores his inheritance as it languishes. So the rain restores the earth, and the trees and the plants and everything can grow sometimes they grow too much, or there's too much rain, and they sort of wither, I guess, in the floods or whatever happens exactly to plants when it's too much water. But that's one problem too. But he says he gives the word, and the women who announce the news are a great host. And so there's this great host of women crying out that God has conquered the enemies, and they flee away. And the women are dividing the spoil. Now you think of usually the warriors are dividing the spoil, but here it's the women, because the men are laying around in the sheepfolds, whatever that exactly means, and the women are gathering the doves covered with silver and gold, and they're dividing those up. So we see here a hint that God's attitude toward women is not nearly as negative as some subsequent groups of the faithful have tried to assert. But that's the way it goes. Well, I hope that you have a great day. I hope that a psalm like this will sort of pump you up and get you going. And I hope that all is well. So we will see you tomorrow morning.